What if the easiest way to control you is simply to control your emotions? One insult can ruin your entire day. One person's silence can make you anxious. One criticism can make you defensive. One betrayal can make you angry enough to say things you later regret. But what happens when you stop reacting automatically? What happens when people can provoke you, pressure you, criticize you, or manipulate you, and you simply remain calm? That is when something powerful changes. You stop being controlled by the outside world, and you begin taking control of yourself. Most people think power means having control over other people, but the Stoics understood something much deeper. Real power is the ability to remain in control of yourself. When someone else is trying to take control of your emotions, you cannot control what people say. You cannot control how they behave. You cannot control whether someone respects you, criticizes you, ignores you, or tries to provoke you. But you can control your response. And once you master that response, manipulation becomes much harder. Today, we're going to explore how mastering your reactions can make you emotionally stronger, calmer, more confident, and much harder to manipulate. Blend. If you value practical Stoic wisdom and lessons that can help you become mentally stronger, like this video, subscribe to Daily Stoic Dose, and turn on the notification bell. There is a moment in every difficult interaction when you have a choice. Someone says something disrespectful. Someone ignores your message. Someone criticizes your work. Someone tries to make you jealous. Someone deliberately pushes one of your emotional buttons. In that moment, your first instinct may be to react. You want to defend yourself. You want to explain. You want to prove your point. You want them to understand how wrong they are. But that first reaction is exactly where many people lose their power. The person who can trigger your emotions can influence your behavior. If they can make you angry whenever they want, they have influence over you. If they can make you anxious by withholding attention, they have influence over you. If they can make you desperate for approval, they have influence over you. If they can make you abandon your values simply by criticizing you, they have influence over you. MWD. This is why the Stoics placed such enormous importance on mastering your reactions. Marcus Aurelius understood that you may not control what happens around you, but you can discipline your judgment about what happens. Epictetus took this idea even further by teaching that our judgments and responses are where our real freedom begins. Think about how quickly a single event can change your mood. You wake up feeling good. Then you open your phone and see a negative comment. Suddenly, your mood changes. Nothing physical happened to you. Your environment may still be exactly the same, but your interpretation changed, and your emotional state followed it. And this is the first lesson. Don't give your first reaction the authority to make your decisions. Your first reaction is often emotional. It can be based on fear, insecurity, anger, pride, or past experiences. It doesn't necessarily represent your best judgment. Tom Bendit yours. When someone insults you, your first reaction may be to insult them back. But if you pause for even a few seconds, you create space between the event and your response. That space is where self-control lives. You don't have to answer immediately. You don't have to defend yourself immediately. You don't have to explain yourself immediately. You can pause. That pause may look insignificant to someone else, but internally it is a major victory. You are telling yourself, I decide what happens next. Dear. The second lesson is to understand that provocation is often a test of control. Some people intentionally push emotional buttons because they know exactly what happens when you lose your temper. They may provoke you because your reaction gives them information. They learn what makes you insecure. They learn what makes you angry. They learn what makes you desperate for approval. Line, when you react predictably, you become predictable. But when you become calm, people lose the map to your emotions. Deigned. This doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means becoming selective about what deserves a reaction. Imagine someone trying to start an argument with you. They raise their voice. They accuse you of something. They make personal comments. Instead of matching their energy, you lower yours. You listen. You breathe. You respond only to what actually matters. Suddenly, the interaction changes. They expected resistance. You gave them composure. They expected anger. You gave them patience. They expected emotional chaos. You gave them clarity. That is strength. Denged. The third lesson is to stop explaining yourself to everyone. One of the easiest ways to lose emotional control is to become obsessed with being understood. You explain why you made a decision, then you explain your explanation, then you defend your intentions. Then you try to convince someone who has already decided what they want to believe. Eventually, you realize that you are spending enormous amounts of energy trying to control someone else's opinion. The Stoics would ask a simple question: is this within your control? Your behavior is within your control. Your integrity is within your control. Your words are within your control. Someone else's interpretation of those things is not. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to know that you are acting according to your values. There will always be people who misunderstand you. There will always be people who judge you without knowing your circumstances. There will always be people who create stories about you. If you chase every misunderstanding, you will spend your life running after other people's opinions. A calm person knows when an explanation is necessary and when silence is wiser. The fourth lesson is to stop taking everything personally. This is difficult because the human mind naturally makes things personal. Someone doesn't invite you somewhere, and you think they don't value you. Someone disagrees with you, and you think they don't respect you. Someone is having a bad day, and you assume their attitude is about you. But remember, people are usually dealing with their own internal world. Their behavior may reflect their fear, stress, insecurity, exhaustion, expectations, or experiences. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior. You should still maintain boundaries, but understanding the difference between someone's behavior and your identity can protect your peace. Someone's anger doesn't automatically mean you are guilty. Someone's rejection doesn't automatically mean you are worthless. Someone's criticism doesn't automatically mean you are incapable, and someone's lack of attention doesn't determine your value. The fifth lesson is to make your response slower than your emotion. Your emotion can arrive instantly. Your response doesn't have to. When anger appears, wait. When fear appears, breathe. When jealousy appears, observe it. When you feel rejected, don't immediately send the message you might regret later. When someone tries to provoke you, don't give them immediate access to your behavior. This is where Stoic discipline becomes practical. You are not trying to prevent emotions from appearing. You are learning to prevent emotions from becoming your commander. Imagine anger as a wave. If you immediately act while the wave is rising, you may make decisions you regret. But if you wait, the wave eventually loses its strength. Many problems disappear when you give yourself enough time to think. The sixth lesson is to control your need for approval. Manipulation becomes much easier when you desperately need people to like you. If someone knows that you cannot tolerate rejection, they can influence you through rejection. If they know you desperately need praise, they can influence you through praise. If they know you are terrified of being alone, they can influence you by threatening to leave. The solution isn't to stop caring about people. The solution is to stop making other people's approval the foundation of your identity. Ombens, you can appreciate praise without needing it. You can accept criticism without being destroyed by it. Domians, you can love someone without losing yourself. You can value relationships without abandoning your boundaries. This is emotional independence. And emotional independence is one of the strongest forms of freedom. The seventh lesson is to choose your battles. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every disagreement needs to become an argument. Plemdius, some people don't want understanding, they want a reaction. If you give them one, you have entered the game they created. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response. Walking away doesn't always mean weakness. Sometimes it means you understand that your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Ask yourself before reacting, will this matter tomorrow? Will this matter next month? Is responding going to improve the situation? If the answer is no, silence may be the better choice. The eighth lesson is to build a life that doesn't depend on emotional validation. When your entire identity depends on what other people think, every criticism becomes a threat. Every rejection becomes a crisis. Every disagreement